Sherlock Holmes, the greatest detective ever. At least what they say about him. And the game is called Crimes and Punishments. It's the 7th game that we're making in the series, that Progress, the studio that I'm working for, is making. So for us, if talking about this long-running series, we started them back in 2000. It was pretty some time ago. And we are changing everything that we did before. We are taking the series to the next level, as they say, right? So the game is going to be more sophisticated. It is going to be more challenging compared to the previous games. If you read about the Testament of Sherlock Holmes that we just released, a year ago. So the game differs greatly, and again, comparing to the other games, you've been playing next to Sherlock Holmes. You've been playing aside him. Now with Crimes and Punishments, we are putting you inside of the head of the detective. We are going to show you how his brains work, right? So if you remember, when the police are not able to solve the case, they are coming to see Holmes every time they are stopped. Why? Because it's his talent of deduction, it's his careful observations, right, that make Sherlock Holmes this genius. So he hears some noise. It would be the steps, the hand clicks, and he already knows. He's just analyzing this information. He already knows who is coming to see him, and most importantly, he knows why the person comes to see him, right?
This time it's called. Mr. Holmes, his name is Peter Clark, better known as Black Peter.
So I'm going to skip a little bit without expressing. The guy is dead, probably a sailor, probably known as Black Peter, and we are going to the crime scene. While we are going there, it is now Unreal Engine. It is first time that we are using Unreal Engine for the Sherlock Holmes game, and it looks absolutely beautiful, stunning, astonishing, so on and so forth. So we are adding these cinematic effects and different cameras and different things to immerse you into the atmosphere of the 19th century London. If you remember, it's London, 19th century, London is the biggest and the wealthiest city in the world. At the same time, it's attracting a lot of people from the entire Europe, the poor one. So London is now split. The center is occupied by the poorest people. It's the miserable part of London. And all the rich guys, they are living like in the suburbs. During the game, we are going to visit both the richest and the poorest. We'll show you everything. We already showed you like these unsanitary slums of Whitechapel in the Testament of Sherlock Holmes, in Sherlock Holmes vs. Jack the Ripper. Now we'll see more. So Unreal Engine actually is known very well by the first-person shooters. Remember, it was very, very delicious for them. Bon appetit. And it also works pretty good and awesome for the investigation game like that. So we're taking this famous London black cab, and we successfully landed in this beautiful backyard mansion. So the game is actually split into several cases, several investigations that you are going to have. Some of them are based on the canonical novels written by Sir Conan Doyle. For example, this is the extract. It's not the entire case that I'm showing, but the extract of the case of Black Peter, written by famous Doyle. Any moment of the game, I'm switching to the first-person camera view, and I'm able to play the game like me personally prefer it. So please meet Peter Carey. He's the former whaling ship captain, and you see he's pinned to the wall. He's pinned with this whaling harpoon, not a common pin that we can see nowadays. There's a lot of blood everywhere, and there are some objects that I can pick and I can try to examine them. So this is the real detective work. You're trying to find as much clues, as much details as possible. So so that you would be able to link them together afterwards. They would lead you to some conclusions. There's this notebook. I can pick it up, see the initials. Again, back in 19th century, the notebook is something very important. It has the initials of the owner, JH. I can turn it around every possible way, and smell it, probably taste it, see that it's covered in blood. The way the notebook is covered in blood makes me believe that it was actually dropped by the murderer after the guy was already dead. So it was dropped into the blood. I can, of course, open it and keep the paper for my further investigation and see where it's leading me. Like, there's a lot of, literally, like, plenty of things to do inside of vacation. Like, for example, the chest that I would like to unlock. Again, I'm going to skip the puzzle just to save us some time. Players are not able to skip it right away. There's like no valuables inside, and I'm moving further. And now the interesting part. Remember when I told you that we're going to put you inside of the head of Sherlock Holmes? So we're going to employ his special talents, his special abilities, right? Yeah, he's like superhero, but his special equipment is only his brain. So, and what he says, like, you see, but you do not observe, right? This is exactly what we are going to do. We develop the special features that would help us see or observe. So they working with simple press of the button gives us this Sherlock Holmes vision. There was the dust print on the shelf, and by this print I can conclude it was a box or some kind of a small chest. And now it's done. So I'd say that I have all the critical information that I needed at this very place. And I'm moving further. So I had the dead guy, the sailor, I had the notebook, I had this missing chest, and I'm just jumping a little bit in time. And I'm already in Scotland Yard with all these nice people hanging around. And the good point is I already have the suspect waiting for me. But before I talk to the guy, I go through the evidence and I try to see the belongings of the guy that police has already seized from me. So there is this golden ring, very expensive one, and it has some engraving inside. It would be probably some very important information to me because it gives me the grounds, yeah, what exactly I'm going to discuss with the suspect. So now that I have the clues, I saw the evidences, I saw this and that, I'm running to the interrogation room. Here is the suspect.
Good detective. My name is Sherlock. Our detectives are secrets.
Our task, like the detective, is to connect the victim and the suspect. Of course, it's very important to do. And in order to do that, I'm able to choose what exactly I'm going to ask him, right? But again, there's another special talent, there's another special genius of our detective. It's his ability to scan the person. We call it the character portrait that gives you this ability. So I can see his shabby cap, I can see some kind of patches on the suit. But if you look closer, you'll see that the suit is rather expensive, you know. And if you check the elaborate buttons that cost even more than the suit itself, with the short sleeves, with his hands, with velocities, and scars, so it gives me the ideas of the guy sitting in front of me. And this is the real interrogation when I can interrupt him. I ask the question and I can interrupt. So even if the guy doesn't really, he doesn't really want to talk to me and to reveal the information, I can interrupt him with the information in my possession to force him and force him to start working. So again, I can ask him about this ring, for example, where the ring is coming from. And John says that the ring always belonged to him, but I remember the inscription on the ring. The guy is poor, the guy is young, so it's not really possible for him to have that kind of words. So again, I'm skipping, saying goodbye. And now we end up like in the end of our investigation. We are going to the deduction part, which would be the conclusion or completion, of your investigation. Just for the presentation, I have all the clues already gathered for me, which won't be the case for the part where you actually plan the game. So this first step, I find the deductions, and I'm going to have these clues. I'm going to interpret. I'm able to interpret them one way or another. So talking about this harpoon, for example, it was either someone very strong who harpooned a guy, or it was someone very lucky to do it. So again, depending on the way that I interpret the clues, they can be connected or they can be conflicting with each other. And we are going to show you that the clues conflict. And based on the way that I interpret it, I'm going to end up with different conclusions. For example, I can decide, I can conclude that it was this John Greenalligan who killed the guy. But if I change the way I interpret the clues, it brings me to completely another person. So in the case of Black Peter, we're going to have 4 possible conclusions. You are the one to decide who did it, who is the criminal. So you end up with the ability to fail or to succeed inside of the game.
Is there failure or?
Yes.
It's like you can accuse someone who is not guilty?
Yes.
And will you know that he is not guilty?
You will accuse someone who is not guilty and you will have to live with that.
Okay. But will you be aware?
We are not showing you that.
You'll never be sure that...
You just hit the button and you continue your investigation with the different case.
Basically, you decide what to do with the facts.
It's the way that you interpret them.
Oh, okay.
It's the way that how good you are with how good detective skills you have. But on top of that, there is the moral choice for you to make. Whether you want to absolve or condemn the guy, whether you want to, even if you know that he is guilty, whether you want to bring him to justice, or maybe you want to release him because in your personal some decisions. So you answer in this question, who is guilty, who did it? And you answer in the second question, what you would like to do with this information that you obtained during your investigation. You are going to have the consequences of that. We are not going to show you whether you did the right thing, whether you did the wrong thing. We are not going to influence it inside of the game.
Will it influence the story or?
It will influence the story. So like every case has 3 to 5 possible conclusions, and of course only one is correct. Plus there's like 2 moral choices for you to make, to absolve or to condemn, to save or to damn the guy. So it turns out to be 6 to 10 different endings for us.
And how many cases are you talking about?
It is currently 7 cases that we have. It is currently like 15 hours.
Okay. Equal length for every case, or is it?
Yes, they are equal. Let's say that they are equal. But again, it depends on your detective skills.
Are they connected somehow, or is it?
Somehow. Somehow they are connected. Not directly. So we are, we just have a number of cases to investigate, and we're going to investigate them further and further.
Probably want to go on the lunch break to the TV.
But I do not have any more sandwiches to share with the TV. No, I'm good. I planned it. No, I do not know what's happening.
My TV does it too. When my PC is plugged in, it believes that I'm not doing anything, even if I'm playing, and then I have to push a button to say no, don't switch off. No?
So the game arrives Q1,
Okay.
Q1 2014 for PC, for Xbox 360 and for PS3. We're also considering this PS4 and Xbox One.
Okay.
So we have some pretty much good opportunities to release the game for 5 different platforms.
And will you add new features, gameplay-wise, or like to use I don't know, like Kinect on Xbox One, or the possibility of the controllers? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I'm not sure about this Connect. I mean,
I don't know if it would bring
when
in.
you're doing an autopsy on the dead body, it would be fun.
Moving around your fingers and interacting with the bodies.
To put in your hands inside of it.
Or turning around the clues also, but maybe that's too complicated, I don't know. I'm the developer.
But thanks for your point.